But now let's get the professional view. Hong Kong was one of the first places affected by the virus after mainland China. As of today, there are 115 confirmed cases and 3 deaths. Schools have been shut since January and will be shut until April at least. I asked Mark Steed, principal of Kellet International School in Hong Kong, what it was like switching from being a physical school to an online one.
The easy one-word answer to that is it's challenging for the pupils, it's challenging for the teachers, and it's challenging for the parents. So leading a school in that environment means that you've got to pull the whole community together. So, yeah, it's been an interesting time for us all at Kellet.
And how do you pull the community together? The first thing, I suppose, that strikes me is how do you create the sense of togetherness that you get in a classroom?
Well, we're doing different things in our secondary school than in our prep schools. So in the secondary school, we're doing a lot of live teaching. So we've got the students logging on and they're using video conferencing software to communicate with their teachers. So the whole class would log on at the same time. The teacher can teach the lesson and that runs pretty much to the normal timetable. The teacher then sets work using our online platform and they actually can do live marking and everything through that. So that's really relatively straightforward.
Can the teacher see all of the children?
Yeah, you can. It depends how many people are in the class. The way the video conferencing screen works is that you can have multiple sort of windows on it. So you can get up to about 16 or 17 students on there at a time. And if a different child talks, then they'll appear on the screen. So you can get a sense of being in front of a class, albeit online. And it's quite handy. There are sort of features like the teachers can mute all the students at the same time if they want to. So that, in terms of classroom management, as we call it in the trade, is possible through using the technology as well.
So it's clear from that you need a lot more input from parents. What are some of the other challenges?
Well, I mean, you touched on that. I mean, the input from parents is a big one. I mean, one of the challenges for them particularly is that we've had a lot of parents working from home because of the virus as well. And so families are juggling sort of perhaps a couple of kids at home trying to do home learning with 2 adults trying to do working from home. In some cases, we've had to lend out school laptops because they simply haven't got enough devices at home in order to all be sort of online working and doing their stuff at the same time.
And presumably this is a challenge for Hong Kong's broadband as well. And its apartments, are they small, big?
Well, Hong Kong apartments are notoriously small. So, I mean, I think there's the whole sort of cabin fever of home learning is a factor. And so what we've worked on over the past, we've been doing this for 5 weeks now, is that we've tried to put a variety of activities in place so that it sort of breaks up screen time. So we would set tasks that don't necessarily involve screen time. And we've also done things like the PE department have created exercise videos and workout routines for the students to do at home so that their sort of wider well-being is looked after as well.
And does it change teaching style? Because it is very different, isn't it? Speaking into a camera rather than being in a room and being able to read your audience.
It is a challenge. It involves different skills. I mean, in our primary school, for example, we're not doing so much live teaching. We're creating sort of videos, stimulus videos for our students so that they can study a topic and explore that topic. I mean, we had an incident the other day where I bumped into two of my staff who were dressed up as Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, classic topic from the British curriculum year 5. And they were doing a topic on the Tudors, and they were sort of acting out part of the story in front of a green screen with Hampton Court imposed over the background, in order just to stimulate and get the children in their class motivated and inspired by their teaching. It requires different skills from the teachers and obviously a lot more imagination.
Do you think this is going to change teaching forever?
I think there will be bits of what's happened that will. I mean, I think, for example, we will see parent-teacher conferences in the long run. More parents, people have found it much more convenient, to be honest, rather than coming into school, doing parent-teacher conferences via video conferencing. I think that schools will be geared up around the world, more geared up with technology and the ability to flex into home learning if there is an incident like the one we're facing around the world at the moment. So I think those sort of contingency plans around sort of digital learning will be there in place. And I think that people are going to value the personal contact so much more at the end of this. The time that we spend with children in our classes face to face is unbelievably precious. And I think that's going to be, the whole Kellett community is looking forward to that.
And Mr. Steed, you've given us lots of the upsides, but it is challenging as well, isn't it? What tips would you give those of us who may find ourselves homeschooling very soon?
Well, I think that there are going to be two really big challenges, perhaps in other parts of the world. And one of them is going to be the issue that childcare has operated differently in Hong Kong, particularly amongst the expat communities and even within the local community here in Hong Kong. The expat community often have domestic help, and the local community have an extended family often living with them. So there's built-in childcare there, which when this flexes into Europe on a major scale, it has done in Italy. Certainly if it moves to the UK, I think it's going to be quite a challenge for them. And the other one is this access to technology. And I think there'll be a real digital divide between those who have got schools that are queued up to provide teaching and learning through technology and families who are sort of queued up to receive it. So I think there's going to be particular challenges around that. But I think the major challenge will be in terms of physical and mental well-being of staff and pupils. I think it's really difficult. We're one of the things that we pride ourselves at Kellett is our positive education program, where we do a lot around well-being, and we've really grappled with how we can extend that through this difficult time. Because young people find being cooped up really difficult, and teachers find teaching sort of from home really challenging too. So building that sense of community is really, really important. I think they're going to be some of the biggest challenges facing other parts of the world.
That was Mark Steed, Principal of Kellett International School in Hong Kong. You're listening to NewsHour on the BBC World Service.